We are going to take a look at the Saints schedule now. First, we want to look at preseason in case any of you folks out there want to get out to the Superdome. Remember, the Superdome renewed, renovated, and just I've not been in, but from the pictures I saw, and now we don't have to go to this elevator, to that elevator, to that elevator to get to the press box. I hear it's a one-shot
get up there. Before it was you had to get a map to figure out how to get up there, and literally a map.
It was tough. It certainly was tough. If we can, Jason, the preseason schedule: San Francisco next Friday night, first chance to see the Dome.
Well, that's where the young kids are going to play the first 2 games of the season. San Francisco, Texans. So when you're going to want to see a Gerard Faison, Joe Morgan, Joe K. Bell, running back, keep an eye on him. Those are all the rookies also. That's where you're going to get a chance to see them play, those 2 games, because the last 2, we know one thing, that Sunday game at Oakland, that's where you're going to see the regulars for 3 quarters. And in September 1st, you will see no regulars play against the Titans.
You know, we were speaking last segment. Is there a chance that Corey Hall is the fullback that makes
Corey
this team?
Hall is going to be the fullback.
Really?
I think that they have given him the mantle, and they're going to see if he can do it or not. And he's a really good special teams player. When I scouted him, he was a linebacker at Boise State.
Converted linebacker.
And then they moved him to fullback, and we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, you know who you can call. You can call Heath Evans. But they're going to give Corey every opportunity to make this squad. And the one added advantage is he can play special teams. He's a good special teams player.
Very good. Let's look at the regular season schedule if we can, Jason. And we didn't put dates or anything on here, but obviously it starts on your left side going straight down. We just were talking at the break.
I'm not crazy about the first 4 games of the season. Everything toward the end, I like that you play the final 4 games, Titans, Vikings. You know what is going to be a big rivalry game with the Falcons, and you end it with the Panthers. But starting it on the road, in their backyard, Green Bay, that's going to be a tough game. You come back home, a very good defensive team in the Bears. We finally get them in New Orleans after all those years having to travel to Chicago to play them. Week 3, the Texans. And last year, Chris Singleton from Detillier, and I told him, you got no shot. He said, they're going to the Super Bowl. I said, you got no shot. They don't have enough defensive players. They bring in Wade. They brought in some good defensive players via the draft through free agency. They're a very explosive team. The trap game, week 4 at Jacksonville. You went through the gauntlet of Packers, Bears, Texans. You play the Jaguars on the road. Now, you can catch your breath a little bit, because the Saints have played at Carolina, and they've always played pretty well in Tampa. But my thing is the first 4 games of the season are really going to tell you the muster. And where I think the Saints may have some advantage is all that work they did in the offseason. Because I think some teams that didn't work as much, the timing in the passing game is going to be off for those teams. So it'll be interesting to see the Bears, who didn't spend a lot of time practicing in the offseason.
And Drew Brees wouldn't allow that to happen to the Saints.
That's right. He refused to let it happen. And I think also, too, as we've seen the Drew Brees effect in free agency. And you and I have talked about that so many times, that when you're a championship team, you got a great quarterback, you know, you're going to attract a lot of people there. And I'm friends with a guy that knows Sean Rogers really well. And he had one of the great quotes. Sean had a better deal in Kansas City. He had a similar deal to the Saints in Washington. And his deal is, yeah, Matt Castle's a pretty good player, but he ain't no Drew Brees.
Boy, you're right. You're right. We got to take another commercial break. But it is amazing when you think back 10 years ago to the Saints. They could never attract.
2005. You couldn't attract anyone here.
It's amazing. It truly is amazing. Got to take another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of those kids from our area who are in camps. And one kid we both think very highly of from Assumption High School, and it might not be who you think. We'll talk about that when we get back from this timeout.